I believe this is the year of divine turnarounds. I'm going to do a little bit of a series with this, and I have another message coming soon called 1 Minute Miracles, where I'm going to show you from the Bible that many times amazing things don't always unfold over years. Sometimes things happen in a minute. Shocking things in the Bible have happened instantaneously. Some turnarounds, like Nellie just gave testimony today, some turnarounds have already come, and others are probably going to happen next week. When I was a young man in Bible school, our pastor used to say, "How many have a miracle in motion?" And everybody would jump to their feet and raise their hand because that was their kind of their faith connector. They were saying, "Yeah, it's not here yet, but I've got something coming I'm believing for." So do you have a miracle in motion?
Yes, sir.
Something you're asking God for, believing for? Now it's up to us to stand in faith and believe for these things. So I'm going to give you, this is going to be so good. 3 things that are freaky about favor. Turnarounds always come with favor. Let's start with Psalm 126. Psalm 126 verse 1. When the Lord brought back the captives to Zion, we were like those who dream because it seemed so unreal. Then were our mouths filled with laughter and our tongues with singing. Then they said among the nations, the Lord has done great things for them. The Lord has done great things for us. We are glad.
That's right.
Turn to freedom our captivity and restore our fortunes, O Lord, as the streams in the south are restored by the torrents. Now, this is a little phrase in the Bible that you need a little background for. When it talks about the streams of the south, that's a figure of speech amongst the Jews. That figure of speech, streams of the south, is describing a phenomenon in Israel that happens in the Negev desert. Anybody ever been in a desert? And in real life, the Negev is so dry and desolate that nothing grows, can't develop anything there. But then there's a certain period of time in Israel where there's flash floods, and suddenly a torrential amount of water sweeps into the Negev desert, and they say that within days it just blows up with life. And so this is that phrase that God now is using for us, and he says, what's going to happen for you will be like the streams in the desert. See, I know we go through cycles and seasons in life where it's line upon line, precept upon precept, right? You try to do the right thing day after day after day, and then you try to do the right thing week after week after week, and then you try to do the right thing year after year after year. But you have to bring into that there's a reality that sometimes God says, I can turn something around in 10 seconds.
Right.
Okay? Now, if you like to live in the natural, you're welcome to. You're free to do that. But you're also free to live in the supernatural, where you do everything in your power to do right and live right and be right and speak right and pray right and all of those things. But then there's a place where you say, you know what? It's still the wilderness. Day after day after day after day, it's still the wilderness. But God can turn that around overnight. Verse 5 says, they who sow in tears shall reap in joy and singing. Have you sowed in tears? Wow. He goes forth bearing seed and weeping. And the Amplified says he's weeping because he needs the seed supply of grain for sowing. So he's giving something to God that in the natural he says, I really, really do need this. Right. In the natural, tithing is absurd. You know, statistically, they say the more money you have, the less you give. Do you know the greatest givers to churches, to the Boy Scouts, to blood banks, to everybody, is the lower income people in our country? they give more than anybody. The ones who need it the most give the most. What's wrong with that picture? God is the master of turnarounds, and he's the God who suddenly shows up and releases his people when all hope is lost. When I started preparing this, I had so many examples, I decided not to even go there. You could teach on this for years, of divine turnarounds. David defeats Goliath, and an entire nation broke free from an invading army. With one battle. How long did that take? 5 minutes? How long does it take to throw a stone? That's how long it took to free a nation. Elijah saw a drought turn into a torrential rain within minutes. The minute Elijah told the king, he told Ahab, rain's coming. And Ahab said, yeah, right. And he said, tell you what, you better get on your little horse and get in your little chariot and go as fast as you can, or you're not going to make it back before the rains pelt you to death. Right. Just like that, a drought of 3 years. Yes. Have you had a drought?
Yes.
Some droughts end instantly. Sometimes you're going through something for a reason. I'm going to tell you why. Sometimes you go through stuff for a reason. Our only responsibility is to go through those things without an attitude. You can't make it rain. You can't hurry up God. Sometimes God says it's going to come on Friday, and when it's Wednesday, you can confess all you want. You can stomp and cry all you want. You can threaten to backslide all you want. Did you ever do that? Did you ever get so mad at God you said, fine, you know what? If you're not going to help me, no more praying, no more reading, no more nothing. How you like that? Seriously, do you think God's going, no, I'll give it to you right now then? He just says, you know what? It's coming Friday, whether you act like a baby or not. It's coming on Friday. You might as well be happy and wait till Friday. Lazarus came back to life with 3 words from Jesus.
That's right.
3 words. Peter went from an empty nothing to a boat so full of fish it was going to capsize. He's laboring and working and laboring and throwing the nets and coming up with nothing. And Jesus said, try the other side. That's all Jesus did. He said, just try that side of the... And Peter's insulted. You're a carpenter. You're not a fisherman. I know fish. Jesus said, try the other side. Sometimes what happens with the turnaround is you're doing everything you know to do. You're not being rebellious. You're not being ignorant. You're doing everything you know to do. And suddenly Jesus shows up if you're listening. You see, Peter had to invite him into the boat. But once Jesus got on the boat, all Peter had to do was submit, and Jesus said, try that side. Now, listen, the boat was about to capsize. It was so full of fish. So in terms of income, what happened? What did he get? 2 or 3 years of salary there? In one shot? 2 or 3 years of makeup salary? Joseph went from a federal prisoner to vice president of Egypt in an hour? All turnarounds come because of faith found within favor. But favor is not just getting everything you ask for the minute the words leave your mouth. Favor comes at a cost. That's worth writing down. Favor comes at a cost.